And good evening, everyone. ESS, Empire State Sports, proudly presents the Wise Guy Sports Talk Show with our host tonight, Joey Riom, Dave Bartlett, and myself, and our special guest, Jason LaPlante and Mikey Martin, both coaches at Chateaugay Central School. Welcome aboard, fellas.
How we doing, Pete?
Hey, thanks for having us.
We're doing well. And like everybody else, we're all stressed out about being locked down. You know how that goes.
Right, that's for sure.
That's why we cranked this back up. I think Joey and I were thinking the same thing. It's like, man, I wish we could bring that back. We can't. We used to do this in a bar, which would be really suitable for the five of us right now. I'll tell you that. But
that would be very good for this crew.
Yeah,
Right.
That's true. But we'll wing it anyway. So before we start doing anything, I want you guys to do a little background about both of you, one at a time, of course, or both of you, whatever you want to do, and we'll go from there. So take it away, one of you.
All right, sounds good. My name is Mike Martin. This is Jason. We run the basketball program in Chateaugay, and we do it together, and everything is 50-50. We always say that the only difference between JV and the varsity is he stands up and yells during the JV game, and I stand up and yell during the varsity. But all the decisions we make regarding our kids and our program, we run by each other, and it's great 50-50. It's nice having your best friend right next to you doing it and share the same passion that you do. So we enjoy doing it.
Yeah, it's fun. So we do it all together. It's fun. We do soccer together too. I know it's cool. Like during soccer, he gets to be the good guy and I'm the bad guy. And then during, like you said, varsities, we do the varsity team. He's the bad guy. I'm the good guy. During the JV boys, I'm the bad guy. He's the good guy. So we just kind of laugh and do it. Like I said, everything's together, and we take turns being good and bad.
Yeah.
Usually
me holding him back.
You guys have built up quite a program over there, but let's go back a few years. You guys also run a very good youth program over there also. So if you guys could, start off with that and tell us, how you get that started. I know a lot of it was inherited by Coach Bouye, and I know you guys have moved on since then. So if you can just walk us through that, and then we'll go from there.
Well, obviously this program was started by Coach Bouye, New York State Hall of Famer. We learned a lot of what we know from him, and we helped him. We all got the AAU thing off the ground, and he's the one that first started this traveling stuff. And I think with his oldest son, Drew, I think they went out and played Malone, and they're a bunch of actually played the girls'
team.
Played
the Malone girls' team. They beat the crap out of them.
Yeah, that's when they had.
It was the year they won the same team with the Johnston girl. They won the state title that same year, and it was actually my senior year. He started it, and they went out, and I think Drew was in like third grade, and that girls' team just pounded us, and it was funny. And then they obviously went on from there, but I think we've just taken what Coach taught us, and I don't think we haven't really changed anything. We've taken all his lessons and doing it his way and the right way, and just trying to keep it that way. And I don't know, I think we've done a fair job of doing it his way, and then mixing a little of the new way too. So
right, yeah. And like I say, sometimes we go to these tournaments and we have 3, 4, 5 teams. You're going from one gym to the next gym, but we love it. And people say, how do you do it? And so when you love it that much, it's not hard. You just enjoy it. And it's nice doing the young ones. There's no pressure, and teaching the young ones. That's one of my favorite things to do, is do the 3rd and 4th and 5th and 6th and the fundamentals. And when you get them hooked in 3rd and 4th and 5th to love the game, once you get them to love it, then it gets easy. Then they want to get better and work on their own and play on their own. And that's where it starts. Give them the fundamentals and keep it really fun. And we keep it light and we preach defense and this and that and discipline and represent your school and your community. Well, you've got Chateaugay on your shirt. And the kids buy in early. They really do,
Having that kind of coaching technique where, you guys, like you say, you split things 50-50, that's got to be great for continuity. So when your JV kids are coming up and they're making it to varsity, they already know, instead of having to learn a new system or, from a new coach, they fall right in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's nice. We're strictly a man-to-man guys, and we don't start getting in the zones to maybe modified area. Well, we're 90-10 maybe. This year we actually played more zone than we ever did, but we agreed on that. Sometimes there's a good little switch up or whatever, but and like I say, we think alike, so the kids know, even like with our offense, we play like a 5-out, or we haven't had a post player in 20 years, so we play a 5-out style, and there's no secret to the kids. If you want to play, get better at ball handling and 3-point shooting, and there's no magic formula who's going to play. Get good at driving, get good at ball handling, shoot. I think we talk a lot. We probably shoot more than a lot of other teams in practice. And everybody like, well, you guys always have these 3-point shooters. Well, that's not by accident. I think, some teams are doing the 3-man weave and some of these other things. We got the shoot machine out, and you can run all these great plays and do all this, but the bottom line, the ball's got to go through the basket. It's a fun way to play, and it's not running the same play for the same kids all the time. And some guys are screeners and everything. The kids buy into the offensive side because they all get to touch the ball, and we give people green lights to shoot and that kind of stuff. And then they buy into the defense a little more because they're involved in the offense.
I know when I was coaching youth program at St. River, some of my best battles were against you guys in tournaments, either at our house or I know a couple years we battled pretty good at Potsdam, especially in the field house. We had a couple good battles against you guys. But I miss those years. I really do.
Same here.
Yeah, they were good years. So do you guys do a lot on the youth program hands-on, or are you like most varsity coaches now that you leave it to somebody else and you just oversee the program? Or
no, we're there. Actually, the last couple of years we've had a little in-house thing. It's been a lot of fun. We've taken our boys and girls about 3rd through 6th grade, and we've turned it into like a little in-house league before we do like the travel stuff. So that way every kid gets a chance. And we've actually, our boys varsity and girls varsity players are actually the coaches of the kids. And it's really cool because the older kids really get into it. And then the younger kids, they look up to those guys. So like Joe McComb and John Callanan and Chris Reynolds and Jeff Johnson and Mike and I will go, and we're there overseeing that part of it, and we're reffing and talking to the kids. But it's really fun to watch the varsity kids, and even some JV kids will do it. Coach kids, and they try to run plays, and they really get into it with the kids. So it builds that camaraderie or that tradition that we're trying to continue. So that's been a lot of fun. So we do that for I think this year we did like 12. We did like 12 in-house games for the teams, and then obviously the kids that want to continue and get a little more serious, we try to go into the traveling part, which I obviously got cut short this year. But it's a pretty cool thing to watch seniors work with 3rd graders and a 3rd grader. You get a kid like Jonah walks in the gym, and I know my kids who are in 3rd and 5th grade, and even Joe McComb who's here, his kid. And they just man, they look at him and it's like, wow, that guy's coaching me. Like, that's cool. Like, and then they all go to those games, and then their parents have to go. And then like this year we saw like our gym was just as full as it's been in 5 or 6 years this year. And a lot of it was that. And they just love it. They look up to these kids, and it puts a little responsibility on the older kids to show, like, you need to act the right way, because these kids are looking up to you. They think you're it, like, in a little community like this, you know?
You're right. And then they see it from our eyes sometimes. It's not easy. It's frustrating, isn't it? When you're trying to get kids to do something, you know, and you got to tell them over and over again. So it's good to see the game through our eyes sometimes too, you know? But as far as doing it together, yeah, the AAU, we 99% of it, all the tournaments, we do it together. We had Ronnie for years, and like I say, Joe McCone comes with us a little bit now, and but we love it so much. We want to be at all the tournaments, and if he can't go, I do it, and if I can't go, he does it by himself sometimes. We just like it, our style, our philosophies, our way. And is some of the other schools that have, the dad come in and he might want to teach him zone when that coach is a band team, or, run plays that he don't run. So, the stuff we're telling them in 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th is the same stuff, we're telling them in JV and varsity. So they're hearing the same stuff from the same guys all the way up through. I think that, that consistency, reinforcing stuff, and obviously you get, add more as you get older, and that's kind of been our philosophy. And, it seems to be working pretty good so far. So we won't change anything just yet.
Well, guys, I mean, I'm proof positive of what you're preaching is right, because I'm done with that stuff. And you're going to start seeing a change here at St. Lawrence Central, whereas I wait for them now to get to me at varsity, because it's just time for me to start moving on. You'll get there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But
yeah.
I totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I know, the group that I just had go through were with me for 10 years, and I didn't have to do anything.
Right.
It was already done. And
Right.
now I'm going to have to go back to coaching them up again. So,
Right.
you guys haven't been in that situation, but when you put the time in that you guys do, and you love it the way you do, it really does make a difference. Knowing that you've been impactful with your kids right from 3rd grade on and been around. So I totally understand what you're talking about.
We preach the family thing, and when you're with them that much, and all the parents are at all the tournaments, and you're hanging out with them in between games, there is a bond, and it's a family thing. And that starts with all this travel team and hanging out with the parents. And we've been so blessed with such great parents and supportive parents. You talk to some of the other coaches, and that's their worst nightmare, some of the parents sometimes, We've been fortunate in Chateaugay. Ronnie never had those problems. And then when we took over, nobody questions what we do. You're the coach, very rare had any problems with anybody. I think they trust us and that kind of stuff. So.
Well, and I can speak for the guy that's up there selling those 50-50 tickets during your games. You got some of the best fans, and we never Normie and I hate it when you guys on those strange years you don't make it to the finals or something, and I'm like, oh man, Chateaugay's out, we need these guys. So you guys are our money making school for 50.
All right.
They certainly come out. They love their basketball here. That's
the drive, Chateaugay to Potsdam, Chateaugay to Canton, not a big deal to your fans. And you guys amaze me, because obviously with Chris's girls, there's a lot of nights you might have had the late night game in Diorama, and the girls are playing early the next day, and there you two are sitting in the stands along with everybody else, making the trek back out, another hour drive. Your support system there, both teams, amazing at Chateaugay.
We got a great group of coaches that all work together and throw ideas off each other. Joe and Chris. Chris is a great game planner, adjuster, defensive schemes. You ask them about certain kids or certain offenses they're running and throw things by them. And we all talk all the time. Their practice gets done and ours starting, and you're talking in between every practice, and you're calling each other, and you're up at 2 a.m. arguing, and the phone rings. Yeah, so yeah, it's, you know, Chris and Joe are our best friends, and that's really nice too. All the coaches, John Callan's the modified coach now, he's helping us. So it is a really nice, tight knit group, and everybody supports and cheers for each other. It's very nice that you mentioned that the boys and the girls kind of, you know, we got some good girls teams coming up through here, and it's nice to see both sides.
I think too, guys, you know, before it gets away from me, that you can kind of combine all of this together. I mean, obviously, great youth program, great community, and obviously the cohesiveness. But your camp, you know, your 2 weeks of camp that you guys run, you know, you've become legendary for the high school camps. Up here in the North Country. I mean, I coached for you for 4 years, and I was amazed at the number of kids that come out for the Chateaugay basketball camp, and they look forward to it. I know my kids, that was the week they set aside. That for high school camp, that was always their favorite. And I always loved working it when I did work it. So talk a little bit about that and where we at for this year, because I'm assuming you probably don't have great news on that.
Ben, I've been asked that question a lot, and I keep saying I'm going to refuse to ask, can we have camp, until somebody tells me that we can't. Because, I mean, it's 2 months away, and, you know, I know I'm not foolish. I assume that it's probably not going to happen, but – you know, who knows in 2 months, and I can cancel that on July 11th as easily as I can cancel it now. So we are holding strong, hoping that we're going to have it, because it is obviously a great camp, a great tradition. I mean, it's overwhelming how fast it fills up every year. We're so lucky to have, you know, like you've coached, and other coaches come back, and players and just, you know, former players that got people, girls or boys that are playing college basketball or coach college basketball, or just high school coaches. They just love to come back. I don't ever have a problem. My kids graduate and they're like, hey, can we work camp next year? I know, and you had even said something about Toby coaching this year. And I think what we love, and that's what Mr. Hollinshead had started when he did the camp, is he always asked the local kids that went to camp all those years to come back and coach, because again, that's part of building that tradition, and we love it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't just have to be a Chateaugay kid. If we've had kids like, you know, your son that come since they're 5-6 years old, and they want to come back and be part of it as the other side and see what goes on with our foolishness. And, you know, we have a lot of fun too. I mean, behind the scenes, we're silly. I mean, we work hard, and the coaches work hard to teach the kids, and they take a lot of pride in it. But, and we do our fun stuff together, and it's a good time to joke and as coaches and spend a week or two together just talking basketball and about players and about different ideas and concepts. And it's really fun. And, you know, we've been lucky. And again, you know, just even having the guys that are retired and getting, like, just the fact that Coach Boyer still comes back. I mean, that is just awesome. You know, and Langer and those guys that are they can't wait to come back. And you're talking guys that are legends, and they just want to keep coming back, and they don't care they're not in charge. You know, like, it should be Coach Bouyer's camp, but he doesn't care that, like, that Chris and I are in charge of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's pretty cool. So we're really hoping that we have it. We'll see what happens, but as of right now on this day, it is still a go. We're going to stay that way until somebody tells us different.
Well, then if you're saying that, then because I am freaking bored out of my mind, if you need somebody, Toby, obviously Toby's available, and if Toby's there, I will come out of retirement and do something, whatever it is. You put me wherever.
Good. That's just a driver for the golf tournament.
Was it Coach Mo? Coach Mo is coming back. Right?
I was gonna drag out Pete and Dave. I got one of my greatest golf photos of all time. I played one time in the Chateaugay basketball camp golf tournament.
Legendary. That's legendary.
At Malone. And Weasel and I were partners. And I had, now let's say Weasel and I had one of the best rounds I ever shot together. And I took a photo of his bag. His bag was a cooler. That was his bag. I don't even think he had a set of clubs. And at some point, he realized after I chipped in on the first or second hole, he said, "You know what? I'm just going to watch you, Joey." And that's pretty much what we did.
Hey, sometimes you just have to admit when somebody's better than you at something. Like, you're good. I'm good with it. I had a good teammate. I deferred to him. You know, we had fun.
And I will say this, Weasel, after the first hole, when you decided to quit, I was fine with that.
That was a good idea.
Wasn't a pretty for an unbelievable athlete. Whew, the golf suite needs some work, man.
I am the worst golfer of all time. I did one time actually hit a golf ball backwards off the tee, and it didn't hit a tree and go behind me. I actually missed it, and then on my backswing, I hit it and it went backwards.
Wow.
It actually had Pete down where you are now in Indian Lake at Johnny Reynolds had a golf tournament down there, and I swung really hard off the tee and I missed, and my backswing came by and I hit the ball backwards, went about 15 yards backwards. That's a true story.
Yeah, that's a true story. Yeah, they didn't know what to think.
Finally got some length on your drive, huh?
Yeah, it's the farthest I ever hit one.
Oh boy!
Yeah, I didn't know what to think of us down Indian Lake, Pete. I said, "You do know this is a tournament, right?"
I'm sure everybody had a good little laugh about that, especially John.
Oh yes, oh yes.
Funny thing was, guys, is I was a member at Malone 4 or 5 years before I started coaching with you guys at Chateaugay basketball camp, and I heard the stories then. Hey, you don't want to be up here that night. That's the night the Chateaugay basketball camp guys are coming in. And they only play 9 holes, but apparently it's just 9. And I found out I did it one time. I'm like, I can see why they're hey, members, go play on the other side. You're not going to want to.
Over the years, we've been graciously asked not to come back the next year a few times. Different places. We used to go to Canada. I don't know exactly the place. I'm not a big golfer, but Trout River maybe. And then one year, it was still when Mr. Holland was in charge, and he went first. And the next thing you know, the rest of us are going through the border, and he meets us, and he goes, boys, they're not letting us in this year." So we had to all turn around, and we already were through the border. We all just turned around, went right back through the Trout River border, just with our heads down. Yeah. Apparently, we weren't allowed back that year. I'm not sure what happened.
Kicked out of Canada.
I blame it on the older guys. I was young then, so I blame it on them.
So Pete and Dave, this is what you got to do to be able to get into this golf tournament. If I come back and coach, you come up and broadcast the championship game on that Friday, because that's a big deal. I mean, parents come in to watch this game. Come up, broadcast the game, and then you'll be eligible for the golf tournament.
There we go.
Yeah.
You coached a couple games back then. Or excuse me, broadcast a couple games back then. So
nice.
It was a very, very good area. We stuck us in the far corner. I remember that. But I'll tell you what,
yeah.
I will say a few things. Number one, the echoes in that place. It feels like there's 10 million people in there sometimes. It really does. And you guys really do pack the place. But I do have to say something about the past. I played David can attest to this. We played in the old gym, and thank God, because
us too.
Me too.
That gym you have now it seems like 4 miles long. I mean, so
right.
I remember the old gym where you do a layup and you ran into the wall, literally.
Oh yeah.
There was some bloodbaths in that old gym, boy. I'll tell you what.
Oh yes, there was.
I'll be honest with you. I think there was more fighting up in the stands than there was on the court.
That was just the Chateaugay fans fighting with each other.
Yeah, you had to be careful where you sat. You didn't sit behind the bench. That was Dick Cook and Charlie Chain. Those guys, you didn't sit up with them. You talked to some of the guys that you played with back there. I have some good friends with like Rob Trim from Brush and some of those guys. And that old court, they said they hated taking the ball out of bounds because you had to go in between the fans to be able to throw the ball in bounds. Because everybody grabbing you and holding you. He
Yeah.
said nobody
Keith,
wants to take the ball out.
the restraining line. Remember the restraining line they used to have? Your court was one of them. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. Is that dating ourselves? I mean, we had restraining lines back. That's how small the courts were. Can't stand in this area when you're throwing the ball in bounds because you had to stand in bounds to inbound the ball.
If you wore anything, if you had anything bigger than a size 8 shoe, your feet were in bounds.
If you go diving into the crowd to save a ball, you might not come out for a while up there.
No.
I think St. Regis Falls was the worst court to ever play on. To be honest with you, that was.
Oh yeah, that was a.
Oh, the old one with the wall was the wall was out of bounds, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
The wall was out of bounds.
About that far between the wall and the out of bounds line. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
No padding. It was all this.
And if you were doing a baseline play, you had to make sure your shoulders didn't rub up against the wall. So.
I remember my sophomore year, we went up there. They had a leak in the roof. In the right corner at the far end, they had a big barrel there, a garbage barrel. And they taped it off. We played the game with that barrel in the corner. That's a true story.
It's probably still there.
Wilbur directed. Was Wilbur directing traffic? He had a big old yellow tape around it and everything.
Oh, Wilbur was police tape around it. Just be careful in that corner.
Hey, to think though, guys, and as far as I know, I'm coming back to the East, so I get to play you guys again now. We haven't played a regular season game in 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, right.
And I started thinking, it has been fun in the Central because of the gyms and the venues. You're the only gym I'm excited about going back to in the East. I always loved playing at your place. When they built that gym, it was done right. It's perfect for the teams because, just like my place, we got the wall behind us, but you have even more separation. There's some space in between the fans and the floor, kind of like Maxey Hall. It's kind of like a smaller one-sided version of Maxey Hall, it feels like to me when we're in there. I think the lighting is perfect. Everything is great about that gym. And when they built that, I mean, you guys must love playing your home games in there, though. It's got to be awesome.
We're fortunate. They built that. It's nice. Like you said, you can have tournaments there because there's places to put people, and your teams can go have their own locker room. And we're fortunate. It's a very nice gym, and they take really nice care of it. And everybody there, the administration, the janitorial staff, everybody, they take a lot of pride in that gym, and they make sure it's ready to go when it's game night. It's ready to go, and we're lucky because it's not like that everywhere. I mean, I said we go to a lot of places, and the coaches out there and the players are out there and doing stuff. And I mean, our guys do a really nice job, and we try to have our players help them because we are just so fortunate of everything they do, and it's second to none as far as a high school gym in the North Country. It really is.
I agree.
Yeah. We like the size of it. It's, size of it is nice. So we usually like to play up tempo, and you wouldn't think, but it is just that extra few feet, the length of it. Teams like to run it at first, and by the time the third, fourth quarter runs around, there, they can tell the difference by then. And we like that there's no fans on our side. That's a good setup too.
So what are you guys doing on your downtime here this spring?
Well, we're missing AAU. We talked about AAU. We are missing that something fierce, and the kids are missing it, and kind of stinks. And I don't know. Obviously, I'm a teacher, and Mike retired this year, so he's living the dream. But I have a lawn care business, so I try to do that on the side when school's done. And Mike's working for me a little bit, so we do that, and I don't know, hang out with our kids and
give me a fishing pole and a stream, a river, a pond, or a lake, and I'm happy. So, the social distancing thing, I've been doing that for years. I'm just as happy doing that stuff.
So moving forward, you guys, you said you both did soccer and stuff. Are you pre-planning your season and how things are going to kick off, and who do you have returning back?
For soccer or basketball?
Well, we'll talk both because I know. Are you pre-planning for soccer, and who do you have coming back for basketball? How's that? Let's start there.
Well, yeah, soccer. We're obviously hoping that we're going to have a season. We were really young last year, so we got a lot of really talented players back, and we got the MVP of the league back, and yeah, I think we're pre-planning for that. And then as far as basketball, I think it's tough because we are losing 6 seniors. We have a lot of talent back, but not being able to have these 50 AU games or so and the 10, 12 summer league games we would play to kind of put people in new spots because, I think at some point we'll probably get into talking about Jonah. I mean, we're losing the New York State Player of the Year, and we've got to figure out how to where people are going to fit without him, and that's, I think, one of our strong points, and I think we've had those confidence before. It's we figure that out through an AU season because we don't always go into these AU games or these tournaments hoping to get a free T-shirt and take a picture at the end and put on Facebook because we're the champions. Like, we don't really care. We're there to figure out which kid is going to fit this role, and we might go to this game. We might have 12 kids because we let every kid plays, and we'll play them all. And at the end of the game, we might go with these 5, and then the very next game, we could be, obviously you're going to have your top 3 guys, but there might be 2 other guys out there with them just to see how it's going to go. So I think that's what we're losing out right now is trying to figure out where that's going to go. So I think, next year, the beginning of the year and some scrimmages and stuff might be a little rough for us because we're just going to have to plug in different parts that we would have already plugged in before the season started because it's going to be a different game. I mean, you're losing the man. And not that we don't have some other guys coming and his son, and he won't talk about it because it's his son, but his son can play. And, but making him as a sophomore as the go-to guy is going to be an experience for him. And even the older guys that are coming back, I mean, we laugh. And Jonah's little brother, Jed, is a very good player. And we laughed at my house one night. And Jed, we talk about Jed being the guy next year. And Jed goes, no, I'm good with Walker being the guy. I'll be second in charge, even though he's going to be a senior. So, I mean, there's just roles that we're going to have to develop, and it's going to be developed differently. And it's going to take a little while, where this year we lost 2 seniors and 2 very nice kids and 2 great players that played for us. But we were able to have an entire AU season to put these guys in and let Walker come up as a soon-to-be freshman and fit in, and all these role players all kind of just bought into where they were going to fit into this around the guy. And it was I think it was a little easier probably going into this year, but next year it's going to be harder, and not having all these games to fail at it and make mistakes and then talk about it and not care if we lose the games. We don't care if we lose an AU game. I mean, we're competitive. We want to win the game, but at the same time that we're building for something else.
We had 3 other freshmen we moved up for the playoffs that are going to be on varsity next year. And we had that conversation just the other day that those kids really needed the AAU to see the speed of it and the strength of guys that are juniors and seniors, and get more confident playing against those guys instead of stepping in next year and then really, find out the hard way. That those kids are really especially those kids, the kids that are coming back kind of know their role already, and some will step up into a new role. But the young ones are the ones that are coming up from JV, or the younger ones. And we've talked to the kids and listen, back when I was a kid, we didn't have AAU. The off season was a time you worked on your individual skills. That's how you worked on your ball handling. You showed it. That wasn't a time for team getting better as a team. So we've talked to the kids. Hey, listen, you're home. You're not. You got a ball. Go in the garage. At most, you have a hoop. We got a new court here in town. Go up to the rec park and work on your individual game. And the kids that are going to do that are the ones that are going to come in next year and be ahead of the next guy. As we tell them, we don't decide who plays. You decide who plays. So whoever works the hardest right now and has that dedication, it's going to pay off big time next year. And the kids I've talked to and their parents said, "Oh, my kid's been out there a lot." So hopefully that's the truth. They're not just trying to make us feel better, but it's we always said, kids don't play on their own anymore. If we're not down opening up the gym and, hey, Tuesday night we'll have pickup games, they don't call each other and go play. Or you get 3 or 4 kids that'll go work on drills on their own. I don't know, you probably did, Joey, in your driveway or whatever. I did in the haymow, worked all your ball handling stuff you learned at basketball camp, and you did it all summer. There's only a handful of kids that love it that much, probably. Then we've had kids buy into our AAU. They come to all the open gyms and they go to the AAU games, but you're not developing your individual talents. That's the stuff you should be doing now, especially now. Well, I know my kid is. It's like,
so I got a couple more questions, but we'll start off with this one. And you kind of touched base on it already, but who's your next Jonah? I know that's a loaded question, but who's the guy? Who's the guy who's going to fill his shoes in the future?
Well, those are some pretty big shoes to fill right there.
Gotta ask.
Yeah. We've been lucky because we've had a good string of go-to guys in the last 10 years. It seems like every 2 or 3 years we got another kid that it's nice to have a go-to guy all the time, but it's not really end of the game you want a guy that you want to run something for and get that shot. That's really nice. But if you got 3 kids that are really damn good, maybe not New York State Player of the Year, but it's more like Jonah is obviously is a special talent, but our team this year, just the puzzle of what you need in the heart and the desire and the defense and rebound, they all fit together really well. So we're more worried about fitting together as a team and complementing each other's strengths as trying to groom the next Jonah. But I think we got some really talented kids coming. I don't know if we're going to have a 2,000-point scorer, but I think we got a couple 1,000-point scorers coming up through right now that, if they keep working hard and playing. Used to be 1,000 was really good, but I don't know. Now you hear 2,000.
Yeah. So
it's a good question. I wish we definitely had one that we could say, but there's a few kids if they keep working hard.
I'll ask one more and then I'll turn it over to Joey or David. But I always ask this to every coach that comes on here, and you guys are not going to be no different. And it's kind of a loaded question, but it's a 2-part question. Number 1, what's the best season you've ever had? And number 2, what's the best team you've ever had? Because a lot of coaches are saying they're totally different. So.
All right. Yeah, we might not even agree. I heard you ask Nate that, so I was trying to prepare my answer, So for me, it would have to be my son Jordan's probably senior year, and maybe his junior or something. A team that he was on. Even Joey can attest. It's a lot more fun when your kid's on the team, and you just put more into it, and because it's your son, all his friends grew up at your house, spending the night and staying over, and you know them kids and those parents more than you do some of the other parents because you're always dealing with them in kindergarten and all the grades, and they all became tight. So you become tight friends with their friends, and those kids are, I always call those are my boys. They all grew up at my house in my court out back. And that was our first sectional, after Jason and I took over, it was our first sectional championship. And so to me, that's my favorite. Those kids, their basketball IQ was through the roof. They could all handle the ball. I think we had 4 kids that made over 63 pointers. Back in the day, 63 pointers was like, we had kid hit 60 like 5 years before that, and everybody thought he was the greatest player ever. I think Jonah had 120 this year. So, but that year we had like 4 kids with over 60. Unfortunately, our starting 5 was 5'5", 5'7", 5'9", 5'9", and 6 foot on a good day. If he slept wrong and his hair stood up, he was 6 foot. So we had to run into the buzzsaw of Maya, who was 6'8", 6'6", 6. Their point guard was bigger than
6'6".
2 of our guys on each other's shoulder. And unfortunately, basketball is a game where height is important. Were they more talented than us? Never. But it just makes a big difference. They were a really, really good team, but they just too big, too strong for us. But as far as talent-wise and easy to coach, that team just kind of ran themselves. They all played for me. And again, with AAU, we played 50, 60 games. When I had those kids in 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, we were 80, 90 games. Anybody who wanted to play, we were there. We didn't, I don't care. A schools, traveling teams, all-star teams, we played them all. And those kids just knew what I wanted, and they had heart and desire. And those still to this day, those kids come by and call you and text you on their birthdays and all that good stuff. So they got a special place in my heart. So that's my group.
Yeah, that's a hard question because you do it for all these years, and even being assistant for Ronnie all those years, it's hard to pick one because you love them all and they've all have special places. But just even I think for me this year, there was just something special about this group of kids. They really truly cared about each other, and if it was just something different. We had a parent that took really good pictures, and after the games, he'd just take pictures that you don't pose for them, and they're just a genuine excitement. It didn't matter, the guys that may not have been playing in the game, in a big game, and they are going nuts, or even in a game when those guys that didn't get to play much were in, the starters were all up, and all those guys are going nuts, and I thought this year was special, and that's why I think it hurts a little more that all this had to happen, because they really did buy into something, and it just I think the genuine excitement and love and care for each other, and it didn't matter if a kid didn't play, he might get in the next game, or the game plan was, hey, you're probably going to play in this game. He might not have played for 4 games before that, and Mike would sit him down and say, hey, tomorrow's game plan, you're in. And that kid would go in there, and like you would have thought he had played all year, and he might not play again for 5 games, and he just went in, did his job, and they were fun, and it was something different. It was something special about this year, and it wasn't just because we won. It was a really cool group of kids, and it was a well mix of those seniors, and they really bought into the juniors that were playing, and to have Walker as a freshman is come in, and they accepted him as like, you're the man. They didn't care. They cheered for him, and Michael never, Joey, it's hard to talk about your own kid, and Coach had a hard time with his kids, talking about him, but I don't care. I'll talk about his kid. It's special, and there could have been problems, and you move up a freshman, and then he's going to be we call him Jonah's Robin all year. There could have been problems. Parents could have had a problem with it. Seniors could have, and they didn't. Everything, that's pretty cool. That's hard to do. It really is. And the 6 seniors really were great leaders and bought into that, and they knew that this is the way it was going to be. And I don't know. This year was fun.
They just wanted to win. They just wanted to win. I'm not a big Facebook guy, but one of my favorite parts of Facebook are the Facebook memories. So you always get the tournaments this time of year are coming out. And I remember the picture just came up, and I think it was like an 8th grade tournament, and we had beat Malone in a championship game. And on the way home, said, this group got what it takes. I think Walker's young, but he might be able to get up in there. And it just seemed like they all fit together really well. Like I talked about the puzzle earlier, you just had kids that really just want to play defense, and kids that rebounded real well, and just they had certain roles and they played them to a T. And then you had Jonah, and you add that in there with the kids, just the fire and desire, and they listened. Just game planning was great. The the detail was awesome. We talked about at the end of the regular season, some teams called us for some scrimmages, and some years I said, we get the best scrimmage every day in practice. Our bench guys, their IQs were great. They played so hard every day. If you showed them the other team's play, they get them like that. They showed them the other team's defense. They paid attention and worked hard at it. So the guys that were going to play, the guys didn't even know, knew they weren't going to play in the game, but it amazed me how hard they would go in and practice every day to get those starters and the first 7, 8 guys ready for these big games. I tip my hat to all kids like that, because not a lot of kids are all like that anymore that don't play. And, by the end of the season, they haven't been playing. Their attitude starts to go the other way and become cancers. And we were lucky not to have any of that. Yeah. Yep. So it was a special team. It really was. Really, really enjoyed them. Really enjoyed them. And that's kind of why, like you said, it hurts a little more. Just as, at the end of last year, we knew we had a shot coming in, and we got a friend of ours, Alfie Ledoux, is a personal trainer, and he said he's going to come in and work with you guys. I think if we can get a little bigger, stronger, we got the basketball skill and we got some talent, a little bigger, stronger, faster, it'd make a big difference. And all 12 of those kids showed up every time. He showed up
2 or 3 times a week.
And he put them through the ringer, man. I'm telling you, it was brutal workouts. And that 12th kid came every time, and none of them missed one. You can see your top kids coming, but the kid that, even some of them kids are worker and farm kids. They'd leave doing hay and come down the gym and work out with Alfie for an hour and a half. A tough workout. And it just shows their dedication, and can never repay kids for that. And not to get them to finish this season and, all that hard work from 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. And then and 9th grade after that tournament, we really said, guys, we really think you got what it takes. And they bought into it and did everything we asked. And it just stings, not knowing, I think I'd rather lose than not know, were you the best, or I don't know. I think we matched up pretty well with the team in the regionals. I would like just get that game in our belt and say we got to the Final Four, but, one game short. But we were hoping maybe the no fan thing for the game in Syracuse, but just wasn't meant to be. And, circumstances what they are, and you got to put safety first. And, it was really hard to walk in the locker room and tell them that, it was canceled. They kind of left us hanging for a few weeks trying to figure something out. But, in the back of your mind and in your heart, you knew we weren't going to play. But you hung on to a little string of hope. But, in our minds, they're the champions to us. Always will be.
Mikey, Weasel mentioned how hard it is to talk about your own kid. So I'm going to talk about your own kid. I've been pretty lucky. I've been pretty blessed because of Toby and Matthew and the kids that played for me. And when we were doing AAU, if we were short, I was pretty lucky. I mean, I always felt like I got so lucky to be associated with unbelievable kids. My kids, and then I'd had Noah Steele played with us all the way through from Huvilton in AAU. I had Brendan Harmer for a couple of years. Awesome kid. You coached against him all those years in the East. Just a great kid. Nishan Johnson, our Chateaugay Award winner this year. I got to coach him. And my first year at Chateaugay basketball camp, I go up there. I don't know what I'm doing, Pete and Dave. Dave Weasel's pointing me. This is what. All of a sudden, there's a draft going on. And I don't know what's going on. It's like the first 20 minutes of camp. There's a big draft and
serious stuff too.
Yeah, it's serious. And I'm like, I can already tell I have no idea what I've gotten myself into. Michael comes over and says, "Hey, Joey needs a guy here. We're going to give him Jordan." And so Jordan comes over and he's on my team. And I got to be honest, I can't even remember the rest of the kids right now. I can't. It's 5 years ago, but we play the first day, we lose. We play the second day, we lose. We go in for meetings in the morning. Hey, Joey's team looks a little weak. Hey, anybody willing to make some trades? That's where the cocky St. Lawrence Central in me comes out and says, "Hey, I've learned how to win with nothing all these years. I'll get it figured out." Well, we don't win on Wednesday. We don't win on Thursday. And Jordan all week, hey, we're a Friday team. When the playoffs come around, we're a Friday team, Coach. We'll be fine. Don't we go and win the semifinal? There's only 4 teams. We win the 1-4 game and then win the championship. Jordan hits a shot in overtime at the buzzer. I was running around like Jim Valvano.
Jordan still tells that story, Joey. Jordan tells that story all the time.
Yeah.
All week.
That was Coach Mo or something, right?
He kept saying to his teammates and me, because, again, I didn't know what I was doing. I'm like, Coach, we're a Friday team. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We'll win it on Friday. And we did. I mean, I don't even know if we were in a ball game.
You're the new coach. We were trying to give you the worst team.
We were trying to make sure you lost. We didn't want you to win.
I usually 4th, 5th year we let you start getting some good guys.
Yeah, and then I didn't win that year. So I was better off the way it was. So, but I'll never forget that Jordan will always stick in my mind that week. And what I was leading though to, Mikey, was just he's an awesome kid. How could you not want to coach somebody like that and be around him on a constant basis? He's everything that you want in a basketball player, everything you want in a kid, everything you want in a leader. That comes from you guys. And he made my week so enjoyable. And that's why I came back for 3 more years. He really planted the seed in me like, hey, I should be doing this. This is fun. So awesome kid. You should be proud.
Thank you. I am. Yep. Nice.
So moving forward, boys. So moving forward, I was going to ask you a question. Both you guys are younger guys. I mean, a lot younger than us. But so I'm trying to figure out how many more years we got going on there in Chateaugay. You guys are going to put in. You're going to die behind the bench or on the bench, or what are you going to do?
Listen. Walker's a freshman, but he promised me that he would coach my kids because his kids are older, obviously, because he's much older than me, Pete. So I put on all this time with his kids. So he always promised that he'd coach my kids. So my daughter's in 5th grade, my son's in 3rd grade. So whatever capacity, he's going to have to stick around for whatever that is, 9 more years, 8 more years. He's got that much. Right. So I have at least until my son goes. But we do a lot. Joe and I take our daughters are in the same grade, and they're in 5th grade. And him and I take them in a lot of places. So we'll, I still have some time, but I don't know. I've always big talk about coaching your kid and stuff. And funny, Nate was talking about it the other night, and I'm probably way too hard on my daughter. So it's probably going to be a good thing. I'm going to turn her over here in a couple of years to Chris and just get to be a dad, because I'm a lot better dad to her than I am a coach. So I don't know. Hopefully she'll turn out all right. She loves it, but sometimes I'm a little too hard on her. So I think hopefully we'll turn her over, and then my son will let Mike coach him, and I can just still be the assistant coach. It'll work out good for me. I won't have to be a jerk all the time. But yeah, we got 9 more years together, and we'll hang it up. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I love it way too much. Somebody asked me that, when Walker goes through, you all done? And I said I owe it to Weasel at least, and I'm not ready. The passion and the fire burns, strong for me, and we got spending time with little kids now, getting to know the young ones now, and got a real good group coming up. His younger son, they got them going, and I'm looking forward to it. I don't see me going anywhere for quite a while anyways. My wife has said, after Walker goes through, maybe you can just kind of switch roles. I said, well, we both coach it. I'm going to be more stressed out if he's standing up probably, so I don't know, but we're definitely going to do it together more. She kind of said, well, why don't you just do like modified, because you really enjoy. I did modified soccer for years, and that's just such a great age of kids, 12, 13, they're just starting to become young adults, and there's no stress on winning and losing, or, we put it on ourselves, not that everybody else puts it on us, but maybe I will work my way down that way a little more and let him do a little more of that, but definitely don't see me going anywhere for at least till little John LaPlante goes through.
Well, guy, we're winding down on time. I'm going to give you guys the opportunity to do last comments. This is your couple minutes, and let her rip.
Oh boy.
Oh, boy.
Well, I just appreciate you guys asking us to come on here and talk, and it's really cool what you guys are doing. It's been cool to hear the other stories and all the people you've had on here. It's really cool. I know Joey said something about trying to get Coach Way on here. We'll work on him. I don't know if he'll do it himself. We might have to do like a round robin. I think he might buy in if we can get maybe Jared and Nate and Mike and I to go on with him. But he's not much to come on and talk by himself. But I think maybe I could talk him into it if we can do like a little thing like that as former players. I think he might do that just because he takes pride in that stuff. But he's a pretty humble fella, so I don't know. I'll ask him. We'll see if we can get him on. Because I'd love to listen to him, but
I mean, I'd love to have him come on with you guys, but tell him, get him and Langer sitting there.
Yeah, Jesus, Langer come right on. Don't worry.
Langer,
Definitely get Langer.
Langer would do all the talking.
Yeah, I was going to say, Ronnie never get a word in edgewise. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys just start the show and let him go, baby.
Yeah. Yeah. Kick back and let them go for sure. Yeah.
Well,
we really appreciate you having us on, guys. There's nothing we like better than talking basketball. So, being cooped up, we've been talking about it between the two of us for this whole time. But it's nice to talk with you guys, and you guys all coached and are a big part of it, and know all North Country basketball. As good or better than most people. So, go way back, and it was fun. We enjoyed it.
Well, we really appreciate it, guys. I really do, and
Definitely.
thanks a lot for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. See you soon.
All right.
Hey, Dave.
For Dave Bartlett, Joey Realm, and myself, and our guest, Jason LaPlante and Mikey Martin of Chateaugay, this is ESS, Empire State Sports and the Wise Guy Sports Talk Show. Signing off for tonight, everybody. Stay safe out there.